What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the Alto again, and this time we got round three with the one and only Axel Rudi Pell. Thank you for coming back on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. So I'm here, ready to whatever.
Always great to have you. You got the cigarette, I got the vape. So together we'll make our we'll bring the fog machine of the shows together on this interview.
That's great. That's fine. Yeah,
but
thank you very much. Yeah,
it's so awesome to have you here with this brand new album that we have coming out, Risen Symbol. First off, how many artists could say that this is their 22nd studio album? You just read that in the press release. It's 22nd studio album. 9 times out of 10 when I'm interviewing a band, I'm talking about maybe their 4th or 5th album, but this is 22nd. First off, being that the last couple of albums that you did were kind of part of the series, the ballad series, was this almost uncharted territory in a way, or almost kind of returning to the drawing board in a way, as opposed to the previous stuff that we've heard?
You asking about the new album?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the ballads, it's compilation records. They come out every 5, 6, or 7 years. Depends on how many ballads I have already written so far. And this is a regular studio album, as you said. Normal, regular ARP style rock tracks, not only ballads. There's only one ballad on the album, which is enough, I think, because there was another ballad album released, I think, 2 years ago or whatever. Who cares? Yeah.
So, was there, when you make an album, especially 22 of them, have you always had at this point, do you kind of know how to go into it? Do you just kind of know how to hit the ground running, and there is sort of a formula in a way, or is there kind of is there still a lot of unexpected surprises that come with the making of each album?
I don't sit down and say to myself, no, I have to write 10 new tracks. It won't work with me. I have to be creative on command. I'm always writing little bits and pieces with the guitar when I pick up the guitar just for practicing a bit. And suddenly a riff comes to my mind. I always have a cell phone with me with a voice recorder. I'm recording that shit. And then I sit down after a month and month and put all these little snippets together, And there's no special thing behind it. There's no concept album. I write what comes to my mind, to my head, whatever, and there it is. Yeah.
What's funny is I always just, and I had to learn this sort of the hard way too. A lot of people assume that when it's the artist's name on the album, so Axel Rudi Pell, they assume that you're the vocalist or you're the front man of the band in a way.
Right.
Have you had a lot of people ask you, oh, what's it like being the singer of a rock band?
No, because now the people getting used to it. First it happened. There was a funny story. There was an American band, and they saw an advertisement of my very first album, Wild Obsession, which came out in '89. And Axel Rudi and Pell, the space between the letters were far too. They were too far. And they said, Axel Rudi and Pell, isn't one idiot enough? That was quite funny. And I took it funny anyway. Yeah, who cares? But we never changed to a band name because the success was there even after the second album we did, Wild Obsession, with Rob Rock on vocals, and it exploded and the sales were very high. I asked my record company, should we go now to a real band name or whatever? Maybe call it at the beginning Axel Rudi Pell's blah blah blah. They say no, it's too late. Keep that fucking name. That's a great name, and we stick to it, But sometimes, people say, you're the vocalist. No, I'm only playing guitar. Okay. Oh, no, the bell is ringing. I don't fucking care.
Yeah. I find that so funny. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the guitar. How many people now, there's a lot of young fans just getting into rock and roll who probably think Michael Schenker is the singer.
Yeah, right. I mean, I grew up listening to Michael Schenker when he started to play even in the Scorpion and then in UFO. One of my big influences, But I think Michael Schenker is well known. His name now, everybody knows he's a guitar player.
Yeah, but
I have to prove.
Yep, but there's always new people coming on board, which I just think is
right. Yeah,
it's funny. It's so weird, talking to people who, and I'm only 30, but talking to people younger than me. I'm talking to people who I like metal and I like rock and roll, and they've never heard of Kirk Hammett.
Well, what the fuck? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that happens. I mean, I've been told that most of the people don't know the difference in guitar playing between Angus Young and Yngwie Malmsteen. I say, okay, fair enough,
We all hear those things that just, you know, I'm not going to be one of those people who say, oh, the young generation, they're so fucked but
Yeah.
you hear things like that and you're just like, oh my God, it ages you by like a decade.
Right.
Yeah. Like just not to make anybody feel older. Again, a 30-year-old, I have young rock and roll bands who don't even know who Linkin Park is. And we know how like,
Okay. Oh, fair enough. I mean, yeah, come on.
yeah.
What
But
else could you expect from that, guys?
of course. But I'm just wondering too, because when I hear your riffs and your guitar solos, and you have so many different tricks and twists that you bring into your guitar playing, are you looking at the song as a whole before you know how to kind of like put those nice solo touches on it in a way, or because I'd imagine you have to know what key it's going to be in, you're going to have to know which solo it's going to fit. Have you ever had what I called an orphaned guitar solo, where you have a great solo but it needs a song to go with?
The main thing about a good song, in my opinion, is the melody of the song, the structure. Of course, the guitar riff is important to get you into the groove, but the song, the melody is always first. And the guitar solo I'm playing actually has to fit perfectly to that song. I never write a guitar solo and build the rest around it. That's bullshit. I mean, other people are doing it. I don't give a shit, about that. There are so many technical guitar players who can play much better than I can, but they miss the feeling. They can't write real songs. They're always noodling, and that's bad enough. I mean, come on. Yeah, so we always song first, song structure first, and then I build a solo. Sometimes it's on the chorus theme. Sometimes I build a new part for the solo. Depends which track it is. Yeah.
Because I'm sure maybe you and I have even had this discussion in the last 2 times I've interviewed you, but you could be a total shredder. You could play, Yngwie Malmsteen or, Angus Young to the freaking album. But to be able to write structures and create a song, it doesn't matter how many notes you could incorporate in that one solo.
Exactly. For example, a fast track needs a fast solo. No problem. You can't play 3 notes in a fast track. It's a double bass or whatever. But on the other hand, it's more important to get a feel. The transportation. I mean, when I play a solo, I put the inside of myself, or my soul and my heart, into my fingers, into the guitar. I don't want to play fast because I can. No, that's not the main important thing. The most important thing is the melody and the feel you get for the songs. Yeah.
And because there's also, and being that you've been putting out records since '89 and whatnot, even before that, like, there's been so much technology and so many different pedals and amps and all that's come out. Do you even like to experiment with that in a way? Do you think that maybe a solo has a completely different feel or emotion depending on the effects even that it's incorporated?
And sometimes you're right, but I can play all solos on without any effects, just a guitar and an amplifier. It may work like that. I'm never doing this, but I always have a tube screamer in there, what else, but the effects they give you a special move into, I don't know how to call it. Sometimes it's special to have an effect that gives the solo a little difference. Sometimes it's good to have an effect, but what happened, I used to configure my pedal board for the live shows. 2 years ago, I made a brand new one with many different effects on it. I think I have 14 effects on this board. What happened is there's one effect which I programmed by myself. It can make weird noises like a flipper, like whatever. And once it happened, I tested it live, and there's a volume pedal for that effect. And it was an accident on stage, and I put my foot against this in a ballad, I think we played Oceans of Time. Suddenly, woo, Jesus, Holy and the Mary and the Holy Ghost. I mean, what else can go wrong,
And I
have to be very careful with the effects, of course.
I don't think I've met a single guitar player in my life of any genre who doesn't have an MXR Phase 90 somewhere around their...
MX90 is on my board too, of course. Yeah. Yes, I got the Eddie Van Halen thing, which has a little special feature on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost just as important as the strings at this point. Yeah. But because there's so many times like where you may hear a solo, you may write a solo, and you may noodle around, and it may not sound. It may be a little underwhelming when you first hear it, but then you put that effect on it. I mean, there's just so many different ways. Before you throw a song out, if you're coming up with a chord progression or a solo that you may not like, Do you tend to throw it out before you even bring it to your amp and bring it to your pedal? Do you prefer to like exhaust all the other options before?
No, because when I don't like the structure, and I throw the structure away, the structure of the song. I never would play a solo or one of my own songs where I don't like the background music. When I say, "Ooh, that's weird," then I write another part which fits to the solo or whatever. Yeah.
I wanted to circle back because I forgot to mention this when we were talking about the name too with Axel Rudi Pell. We see your name on the record. This is a saying that I like to say. The name that we see on the record may not be the same name, even if it's spelled the same way, is not the same that we see on a driver's license. When we see when we see though Axel Rudi Pell on the album and on the tour flyer and all this, we see you with the guitar. When you're off the stage, is there maybe a different persona who Axel Rudi Pell is on the album than who you are off the record on your daily life?
You should. First, I have to make clear that's my real name.
Yep.
It's a real driver license in my passport too. Anyway, I'm not a totally different person. Sometimes I used to go a little wild on stage in the last 10 years or whatever, or the last 20 years. I'm a little calmer right now because I'm an old fat bastard. No, I've lost some weight. I'm proud of it. No, who cares? I'm not a totally different kind of person. It's my personality which I have on stage is the same in private things. I'm not the big boss where I put my name on it in private things. Everybody. We're democratic or whatever you call it. So we're equal. We're all equal. We're all human beings. Whatever.
It just amazes me. Take for example Taylor Swift. That's her real name. Imagine taking her attendance in class. Like, is there a Michael Johnson here? Robert Smith? Do we have Taylor Swift in class? And then just you become that same name just completely changes. Depending on your level of notoriety. It really is straight. Or even just using your name as the tagline or the slogan or whatnot. It's when you can.
But I'm not calling myself Axel Rudi J. Pell because of all other Axel Rudi Pells,
Yeah.
I'm the only guy with that fucking stupid name. I don't know. I think so.
Hey.
What was quite interesting, when I used to be on Facebook pages in the last couple of years, there's an American community, the Pell family. And I said, what the fuck is it? They all have the same name, Pell. And I went there and I got some letters and stuff and writing forth and back. It's great because I didn't knew that Pell was a regular American name.
Maybe they're family and you had no idea.
I don't know. We're German family. Everybody's from Germany. I know.
Yeah, my family's in Germany too. I have a German.
Oh, really?
Yep, South Bavaria.
South Bavaria, nice place, nice beer.
Yep. I mean, the best beer. I will die on that hill. Better than Ireland or anywhere else. Straubing, Germany, where my family's from. That's where the best beer is. The Weiss beer.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. I wanted to talk a little bit about like the evolution as an artist in a way too, because again, 22 albums and more when you look at the compilations and everything that we've heard before that. But do you have control over your own evolution as an artist? We all evolve as an artist. Is that something that you have control over? Can you dictate your own evolution, or does that come naturally, if you feel?
I think it's a thing that's coming out naturally out of myself, And I write songs. I'm writing stuff as soon as I close the door of the studio from the recent album. I go out back home, throw up the gear in my room, and put up the guitar maybe 3-4 days after a short break, and then I pick up the guitar, and then suddenly I play different, and a new riff comes to my mind. I'm always, what was the question again?
Yeah,
sorry.
If evolution is something you control.
It comes out natural because the fire inside is still burning, the flame is there. I like to what I do, and I don't care about evolution. I don't know, maybe the next album will be totally different, but I don't give a shit right now. I'm concentrating on recent things, and let's see what the future will bring.
Yeah. And you mentioned that flame too, because when an artist tells me I always have the inspiration, I always have that drive, I don't think that's possible. I think, sure, it is good to have passion, but we all get exhausted. We all sometimes, can't get the ideas out. When that flame goes out or it dies a little bit, do you have to find a way to let it ignite, or does that just, again, ignite on its own?
No, 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 just like I said, the fire inside myself is still burning, and it's burning very hot at the moment. But of course, I have days when I pick up the guitar and say, well, I don't like to play guitar today. There's no, I don't know, for whatever reason, could be anything. And then I don't touch it again for maybe 2, 3, 4. It happened that I actually didn't touch the guitar for 3 or 4 weeks in the past. That happens when I do my taxes, I do the interviews, and what else? I have to create new T-shirt designs. There's no time for playing the guitar. And I don't give a shit about that, And now when I pick up the guitar again, yes, there's another riff, wow, great. So it's natural.
Do you have that thing on your conscience sometimes where, like, when you're not playing your guitar, you're worried that you're, like, losing all the skill that you build up?
No. Sometimes it's very tough when I'm in my own private rehearsal, when I know, for example, we're playing the first show this year on the 13th of July in Bulgaria, somewhere at the festival. And I know that we're starting rehearsal on the 9th July. I have to prepare myself at home to make sure that I know all the things I'm playing, because I go meeting the others to rehearse, And that's tough because time's running out. It gets later and later. And once I say, did I have to start right now? Can I wait a few more days? Yeah, wait a few more days because several other things to do, And that sometimes is a problem. They say, will I lose my skills? Can I still play that, or the fingers stiff or whatever? Who cares?
Yeah, because, being an artist myself, every minute I feel like I'm not, like, at my desk working, it's just like, oh my God, I'm fucking up. I'm a lazy piece of shit. I'm losing the skill that I am.
Right.
And I heard that's quite common.
Yes, but I'm not a guy who takes a long vacation, I'm not vacation. I'm not running out of my house for 2 weeks or 3 weeks to go in the sun and do nothing. I can't do that. I'm workaholic, I have to do something. I have to do with music every fucking day. It doesn't matter what it is, but sometimes I'm only getting, I'm working with, what is it called, AI, creating some pictures and stuff. I'm always doing something, but it's always for the music business. All my perfume business.
Hell, I'd love to see that. But depending on what you're writing, whether it is, Risen Symbol like this, or like, what it's your work or a compilation like what we had in Ballads, for example, does the song maybe resonate with you differently depending if it's for your solo stuff or any of the work that you've done with Steeler and so on?
Yeah. What was the question?
Does it resonate with you, or do you feel like you channel a different energy into it depending on if it's your solo work or something else?
No difference. No. Never had that.
And it doesn't feel like maybe that there's a different energy or emotion in it?
And sometimes when I write a ballad, for example, there's special emotion. I can't write, like I said, I can't write a song on command. I can't write a ballad. I have to be in the right mood for writing a ballad to get these great melodies in the mind, I can't sit down and say, what can I do now? No, fuck you. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's funny, too. I heard ballads, like a slower song, is actually more difficult than like a really fast, aggressive song, because with an aggressive song, like, you might stumble, but like if you slightly botch a note on a ballad, everybody could hear that.
That's right, but when I write song, there's no difference. A ballad takes as long as a regular rock track. Depends in the mood,
Yeah.
If I don't have any ideas for a ballad, there wouldn't be any ballad on the next record. There's no must for me to write a ballad. So I don't care.
Yeah, but speaking of that mood, because when you're playing live, you're more than likely not going to be in the same mood when you're playing the song live as you do when you wrote it. So how do you kind of like bring that same emotion and replicate that in the live setting?
That I don't need much emotion when I play live. I know there are people who paid their money to see you there, and they like your songs, your own song, the songs which I write, a couple of hundreds or thousands or whatever, and I'm very proud of it. I don't have to be in a special mood. I know that's a rock show, and I know what I have to do at a rock show. It could be that I'm totally nuts because I'm upset about anything which goes around me, but I don't show the people. You have to be on stage and you have to do your job. That's my job and that's my passion. I don't care what's around it, whatever.
Fair enough. And the final question I wanted to ask you is I want to celebrate a little bit of an anniversary. The first Steeler album, the self-titled Steeler album, which is now 40 or 50. I can't.
40 years, I think.
40. I'm terrible at math, so forgive me. But Now 40 years.
I was 2 years old when it came out. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. If you're playing like that if you're playing guitar like that at 2 years old, every guitarist should quit.
I would be a genius, yeah. No.
But what was the memory behind the making of that? You know, the famous saying, you have your whole life to make your first album, the rest of your life to do it again. What was your sort of thought process, or what was the creative energy like making that album?
You know, we wrote a couple of 100 songs, a little too much, but anyway. Before we went into the studio, we were so proud at the band, as the band got their own record contract, the first record contract. It was a bad contract, but I never would sign it now. But anyway, who cares? You know, it was the first record. We went into the studio. I think we only had 7 days, including mixing everything. And the drummer, I remember that he was so nervous. And the drummer was first. You know, we played live in the studio. We went into the studio. I think it was 10 in the morning. And the engineer was there. Everybody was there, but not the drummer. He didn't show up. When we called, he still lived at his parents' house. I think he was 18 at the time. And the mom said, he went to hospital. He was so nervous, he collapsed because of the record, you know. They have to put him on hold for another week or 2 weeks. I can't remember that. But anyway, It was so exciting, you know, to be in the studio to record the first album. When it came out, at that point, the time manager, he came to my house, to my parents' house, where I still lived there too, and presented me the first vinyl. You know, I said, "Whoa, there's a picture of me in that. Wow, we made it. Glass of champagne or whatever, you know." Yeah.
Yes. That's always the best feeling when you just when it's finally presented. So before,
and when somebody would have told me at that time in 1984, it was when it came out, that he's still doing records and you're successful even more than in Steeler, they would say, "You stupid motherfucker," you know. I can't believe that, but I'm still there, you know. Yeah.
And 22 solo albums later and a bunch of compilations and everything else. Congrats on just everything.
Thank you very much.
But Axel, I want to thank you so much again for your time. Always an intriguing conversation. And thank you, as always, for continuing to give us new music that we could enjoy and just continues to keep rock alive. Everybody, Axel Rudi Pell. Be sure to check out Rise and Symbol. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, baby, rock on.